Hi everyone, and happy Wednesday! This week's painting process was inspired by two small and simple words that accompanied me throughout the whole process. And in fact, these two words accompany me in most of my creative processes. These two words are what if? And they hold a world of possibility. So it started with me not being too sure what to do, and then I asked myself, what if? What if I start my painting in a different way than I normally start my painting? And then it just snowballed into becoming a painting. So I'd like to invite you to join me this week in creating an abstract painting that was inspired by two small words, but words that hold all the possibilities in the world and words that can be so helpful to us when we are creating. So if you're up for it, grab your painting supplies, or if you feel like just relaxing, that's okay too. Grab a cup of your favorite brew and join me for some fun, creative exploring. I started off my process by thinking, what if I started my painting using my masking tape in a different way than I normally use it? And so I proceeded to cut a bunch of different strips of tape into different lengths, and I started to create my composition like this. What if is probably the single most important question that comes to me from my intuition constantly as I'm creating. What if I add this color? What if I add this mark? What if I move my brush this way or move my brush that way? What if really can be followed by just about anything, which is why I say there is so much possibility attached to these two words. And it really is what helps me keep creating. And it's how my intuition speaks to me. Anytime I get a what if you try this little nudge from my intuition, I usually feel like it's taking me in a direction I've either never gone before, or maybe it's something I've already explored in a past painting. And it's just reminding me that maybe that thing, that mark, that color, whatever it is that it's presenting me with, is a possibility that would work really well for my painting process. So I would like to invite you to ask yourself this question as you're creating. What if I do this? And use it as your exploration guide. I think you will surprise yourself with trying new things, and when you try new things, you will learn a ton in the process. Another reason I'd like to encourage you to use these what if questions is because sometimes you may be watching me paint and you may be thinking, oh, I would have not done that. So when those moments occur, and it's completely okay, if not absolutely fantastic that they do, I would like to encourage you to say, what if I did something differently? What if I did it differently than the way Gabrielle is doing it on her video? Because you have some preferences that are surely different to my preferences, and they are your magical preferences. And if you give yourself the opportunity to explore those preferences and those different ways of creating, you are also going to continue to work on developing your own style. And so it's okay for you to watch me painting and like what you see me doing. And it's also really great if you are watching me create and see things that don't necessarily sit well with you. Things that you would think, you know what? I think I would have chosen a different color, or I would have chosen a different mark, or I would have gone in a completely different direction. When those little nudges come to you, that's your intuition speaking to you about your preferences, and it's also letting you know what your preferred style of creating is. So be curious about those nudges and don't hesitate to explore them. So in this video, I am purposefully not going to share with you all of my what ifs. You can see them developing on my painting, for one. But I also don't want to share with you all of my what ifs because I want it to be a space for you to let your what ifs pop up and for you to give yourself a chance to explore them. The really great thing about questions that start with what if is that, of course, they're not just applicable to creativity. They can be applicable to just about anything we do in life. And sometimes it is using the very question, what if, dot, 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 followed by something new, that will lead us to discovering new innovative ways of doing things, or maybe adding a different spice to a recipe that you've really loved in the past, but you've kind of maybe grown a little bit bored with because you've had it so much that it's just kind of lost its edge. So asking, what if I added a different spice to this recipe? Or what if I approached today in a different way with a different attitude? What difference would it make? And so, what if is a really, really powerful way to explore just about any situation we are encountering in life. And right now, here in the US, we are faced with a lot of uncertainty. And some days, I won't lie, it really is very challenging for me to get up and approach life in the same way that I've always approached it because things have changed. Things are different now. And so I am challenging myself with my what if questions. And today is one of those days where I had to tell myself or ask myself, what if I chose to look at the situation differently and I chose to just keep putting one step forward? What would the rest of my day look like? I'm not saying that I'm going to blindly accept everything and anything that life throws my way because I really do believe that I have free will and that I have the power and the ability to make choices to make my life different and to make my life better. But some days when my emotions get the better of me and I just really find it difficult to put one step forward because I just don't know what's coming and it's really scary. On those days, it can be helpful for me to think in that way, to try to approach this day, this moment in a different way. And in doing so, remain focused on living in the present moment. Because mindfulness at the end of the day is the thing that makes every moment better. I really sincerely believe that. So, right now, in this very moment, when I'm choosing to paint and to spend time with you all here on YouTube, this moment that I'm grounded in feels right. And it helps me feel more grounded and it helps me breathe more easily. Because honestly, if I try to think too far ahead, it really becomes overwhelming sometimes. You may have noticed that this week I was working on a block of paper instead of doing my usual where I tape my paper to a hard surface. And so I'm trying out this new paper. It's a 300-pound watercolor paper, and I'm very happy with how it held up. It has not really fully gone through all the rigors of my usual way of painting where I add a lot of water. So I can't really say how well it's gonna hold up for that kind of painting, but it looks very promising, so I'll keep you posted. All right, my sweet friends, are you ready to start exploring your creative process with some more what ifs? I hope that's the case. I had so much fun creating this painting for you, and I hope you enjoyed watching the process. Thank you again for making the time to join me, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. And don't forget, happy creating!